Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about my cosmetology school experience and just everything that I went through, like what kind of school I went to and like why I chose that school, the testing and what a typical day was like for me and all that stuff. Another thing I want to say is my voice is going to be probably going in and out like it is right now. I have allergy or a cold. I have no idea, but I have water here, so I'll probably be grabbing for my water a lot throughout the video. So yeah, so if you are interested in either going to cosmetology school or if you've gone, you want to hear someone else's experience on it, then keep on watching. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is the school that I went to and kind of how I chose the school that I went to. So, I want to say it was either the end of my junior year or the beginning of my senior year of high school when my guidance counselor called me down to her office and said, okay, graduation's coming up, like what are you going to do after high school? And I told her what I wanted to do. And then maybe like a couple days later, a week later, she called me back into her office and gave me this huge thick packet of all the cosmetology schools that were in New Jersey. And this packet had all the schools' information, like where they were located, how much money it would be, just everything like about their programs, all that stuff. So there were a couple Paul Mitchells I could have chose from. One was, I want to say up in North Jersey, kind of by like the New York area. And then another one was in South Jersey, kind of by like down the shore. And those for me either way could be 30 to 45 minutes or more away. Then there was a couple schools that were like half an hour away, 20 minutes. But the school I ended up choosing was an adult program at a VOTEC. Now, if you are not really sure what a VOTEC is, it is a vocational and technical school. And basically what that is it's kind of like a high school that will offer adult programs. Like that's the one that I went to. And basically if you went to it for high school, you would do your high school classes. And I want to say when you're like a junior or a senior, you pick a trade you want to do. So like hair. I think the one school I had, you could be like a mechanic, a chef, or a baker, whatever you want. You choose that, and then that's like your second half of the day you do that. So the VOTEC that I chose had an adult program, and I chose the VOTEC because it is literally 5 minutes from my house, or 7 minutes. I think it was 7 minutes because there was 2 traffic lights that I would constantly always get a red light at. And that was awesome. It was way better than obviously having to go almost an hour away. It was really cheap. I want to say it was almost for, I don't really know specifically how much it was, but I want to say around $10,000. Which is obviously, if you're looking into a Paul Mitchell or something like that, it's way more expensive. And another good thing about a VOTEC is I think it's not owned by the county, but it's my county's VOTEC. So because I went within the county, it was cheaper for me. And I know people that were outside of the county, they had to pay extra money because I don't really know why it's just because they weren't in the county. I don't really know what the deal with that was. And another great thing about the VOTEC is they help you a lot when you have to do your state testing, which I'm going to talk about later in the video. Alright, so next up I'm going to talk about the supplies. So the big thing was the kit, and that was $500. I know it sounds crazy and a lot, but it came with everything that you needed. So it came with 6 to 8 mannequin heads. I don't really know or remember how much exactly. It came with scissors, curlers, curling irons, a hair dryer, a straightener, a cape for dyeing hair, a cape for when you cut hair, and then a smock for myself. It came with a stand for the mannequins. It came with A razor. It came with a straight edge, like, I don't know what it's called, a straight edge razor. Blades for the razors, clips, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, brushes, combs, just a ton of stuff like that you could possibly need to do hair. I think it came with a couple bowls and brushes, like dye bowls and brushes. And then it came with some like things for manicuring, like pedicuring, like nail clippers, cuticle cutter, toenail clippers, toe separators, the little like sandals that you get after you get a pedicure. I'm trying to think of what else. It came in like a big suitcase that's actually like a pretty decent suitcase. I think my sister has it down at her college right now for when she comes home. I can't think of what else it came with. Like it came with so much stuff. Oh, perm rods. I have like 200 million of those. Yeah, it just came with like a bunch of stuff. Plus it came with the textbook and 2 workbooks. And this is what the textbook looked like. And the workbooks also had the same cover. Just the only thing that was different was there was 2 workbooks, and one was for theory, and theory was basically like all your tests and just kind of like your common knowledge. And then your practical book was like, it would basically ask like, okay, if someone wants like these kind of curls, how would you do it? And like you would like list step by step kind of thing. And then other supplies that I really needed was a binder, was just a bunch of loose leaf paper, because this textbook, I will show you. Like we always, basically in the textbook, we had to read a chapter and then answer the questions in the workbook that went with this chapter, and then answer the review questions, and then we would keep those all in the binder. And then also, if you are looking into going into cosmetology and like want to know what supplies you need, note cards will be your best friend. I probably went through like 600 note cards. I'm not even kidding. I mean, that might sound a little exaggerated, but I went through so many note cards just writing any bolded word, like anything that had a definition that was in the back in like the glossary, anything would go on that note card, and I would read those note cards, and they help study for every single test. They prepare you for your written test that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, and just everything. So if you're looking into going to cosmetology school, your workbooks and your textbook will most likely come with your kit, and that's like worked into like that $500. You keep the textbook. I wrote in the textbook, highlighted things in the textbook, all of that. A binder is great to have, and note cards will be your best friend. Alright, next I'm going to talk about the importance of your attendance. Now, in order for me to get my license when I was in school, because I went to a vocational school, I had to finish 1,001 hours, and basically that just meant like show up every day. But you are also able, they like work it in where you can miss like a certain amount of days. So I think we were allowed to miss like 12 or 16 days. I want to say it was 16. I mean, the easiest way to get your hours was, say I went in one day feeling like disgusting, like totally sick. I just didn't want to be there. I could have gone from like 12 to 3, because 3 was our lunch, and then left, and I would have gotten my 3 hours for that day. So taking those half days, yes, they add up in your like absentees, but they also kind of help you because you're getting 3 hours for that day. And we would get, some days we would just get so much stupid hours. Like Tuesdays, we would go to a beauty supply store that was like 30 minutes away and just sit in like their classroom and literally like get a class. And like the classes would be like hair color classes, hair cutting classes, updo classes, nail art classes, something like that. And there you got hours for that. One day we had to go to a beauty supply store, do like one little lap, and there was like literally 2 aisles, do a lap around the store, and we were able to leave. And we got 6 hours for that. Like there was just so much stupid days, and like we would go to like beauty shows. We would we would be able to walk around and then leave. Just like so dumb and so easy, and we'd get so many hours for that. And just, I mean, even showing up to school, obviously you get hours for those too, but basically with the hours, it's just like show up to school. I know I was out one full day. I think I was absent like a total of like 3 days in total. And my teacher even gave me hours because the day before our test, I was going to a prom, and I went in to get my hair done, and my teacher gave me hours for coming in to get my hair done and leaving. Like, we would get hours for things like that, or she let me get hours for things like that. It was just, going in was just so easy. And I mean, someone in my class did get kicked out because they missed like their X amount of days that they were able to miss. And when that happens, basically they just say like, look, you're not going to make it. This program isn't for you. They get kicked out, and I don't think they get their money back. So you really have to think about, like, do you want to waste thousands of dollars on school and get kicked out, or do you just want to go and finish it? And it was really easy to do, and that was it. Like, showing up and getting your hours done and keeping track of your hours too. Like, that was another thing. You have to keep track of your hours, because I would do that if I wanted to take a half day, because I did take a couple half days here and there, but I always just wanted to make sure like I had enough hours to take a half day. When I knew I did, because I was only out one real full day, but that was really it. Like, it was just easy just to go and show up and just do your thing. Alright, so next I'm going to talk about the testing. So basically you take 2 tests. You have your written and your practical, and because I went to a high school that offered adult programs, our tests were with the high school cosmetology students. So in April, I want to say it was like the end of April, we took our written tests with the high school kids, and it was on the computer, and it was all multiple choice, and it was basically everything from like our theory workbook, and basically you just had to answer all the questions, and then there was a guy in there, you raise your hand, and he would come over, tell you if you passed. He kind of like whispered it in your ear, which was weird. And then we had to go back to our classroom and literally just sit there until we found out, like, how everyone else did. So after that, the principal came in, and she kind of just like got all the numbers, and then went to go schedule the practical test. And my teacher was like, okay, look, when we get the practical test, it could be a week from now, it could be 2 months from now. She didn't know, because we went with like a bunch of cosmetology schools from the state of New Jersey. So I think we found out like the next day maybe when our practical test was going to be, and it was like a month away. And so for the whole entire month, we studied for this test. And my teacher, basically what she had us go do was she had us go out and buy like the biggest Ziploc bag we can find. I don't even remember what size it was. It wasn't like the gallon ones. I think there was like a size up from the gallon bags. And she had us label every bag. And I think there was like 6 sections of the test size. So every bag was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And she would tell us what to put in every single bag for every single section, like what we would need. And then we would practice the test. When I was in school, when we took the test, we had to actually bring in like a physical person as our model. So I brought in my sister, and she was my model, because she has really thin hair, like the perfect hair for our state board set, which is curlers up here, perm rods on one of these sides. I think perm rods on this side, and then pin curls on this side, and then the back was finger waves. So she would come in after school, and I would do the whole test on her. So when we went to go take the test, we went to my school, got on a bus, and drove all the way up to, I think, Wayne, and like went to their high school there, which it kind of stunk going all the way up there. I don't really know why we had to go so far away, but I guess like that's just where the state was like having tests that day. And we had to wait in a huge room, and then we got separated from our models, and like they went to go sit down somewhere, and then we all had to go like somewhere else and like wait in a line. And then we had to like go find our models, and that was like really nerve-wracking because I was like, oh my god, what if she's like next to a stranger, blah, like all this stuff. Luckily my sister was sitting next to someone who was in my class, so that was like the greatest thing in the world. And the test was like kind of like scary because like there was people like walking up and down, like staring at you and like all this stuff, and it was like kind of nerve-wracking. But then when it was all done, it was just like this huge weight lifted off your shoulders, and you're just like, yes, like I'm done, like this is it. Like, I don't have to, like, worry about this anymore. I just have to worry about the results. But yeah, the tests were, like, kind of scary and stuff like that. It was just, I don't know. Very, very nerve-wracking and very, very stressful. But I will say my teacher was really, really good with, just explaining the tests to us and getting us prepared. Alright, so next up I'm just going to tell you guys about like a normal day in school, and I'm going to also talk about orientation because that's going to help you guys like understand like the last like thing I talk about. So I'll start off with orientation. So that was like a week after I graduated high school, and basically I just went up to the school and sat in like a classroom with like a bunch of other people, and these two ladies just like told us like what to expect, like what cosmetology school was like and all that stuff. And they were just like, well, you're gonna like have these books and like all this stuff, and then you know have all these tests, and you're gonna have to put your life on hold. Like they made it sound like it was gonna be like you're never gonna have a social life, but that wasn't really true at all. I guess I just have like good time management, I don't really know. And they were also saying how there's going to be job placement, which didn't really ever happen. They were just like, oh, if you tell your teacher where you live, like, she can help you get a job, or like, salons contact us all the time. And it never really happened. Like, no one ever contacted the school, but it was whatever. It is what it is. So then I started school in September, and it was like a normal school year since it was a high school. So it was September to June. And I would go in every day at 12 o'clock. And first we would have theory, and that was when we just sat in like a normal classroom and read from the textbook like I just showed you. Sometimes we would do homework. We would take a lot of tests. There were days where we would take like 10 tests in a day. Just a bunch of like that kind of stuff. And that was from like 12, I think, to 3:30. And then from 3:30 to 4:30 we had our lunch. So we were able to leave if we wanted to go have lunch like somewhere. And then after that, from 4:30 to 6:30, I mean, we were supposed to really stay until 6:30, but our teacher let us leave at like 6 every day. We had practical, which is when we were in a classroom that was like basically like a salon, and we would work on our mannequins. Sometimes we were allowed to work on each other. Like I said, like Tuesdays we would go to a beauty supply store. Once everyone had hit 500 hours, we were able to open up shop. And basically, when you hit 500 hours, you can get your permit. As long as you have your 500 hours and you have like just paperwork filled out from like a doctor. We had to go get physicals. Just saying like we were okay to work kind of thing. And we were able to open up shop, and that meant that family, friends, randoms could come in, get their hair done, get their nails done. I think some people got their makeup done, like once prom season came around and stuff like that. And I mean, I had some people come in to get their hair done. My aunt came in a couple times. My mom came in, and it was fun. Actually working on someone else other than like a mannequin head. And that was from, I want to say between like February, March, like end of February, beginning-ish of March. We started that, and then like around May we shut it down because that was when our practical test, like we needed to start studying for that. And just no one was really coming in. Like I was the only person to really like ever have someone in my chair, which was kind of weird. Alright, so now I'm going to tell you guys about the pros and cons. Obviously everyone's is going to be different. Everyone's experience is different. So this is just my opinion. So I'm going to talk about the pros. For me, it was close to home. And that's why I really liked it, and it was cheap. It wasn't as expensive as like a Paul Mitchell. And my teacher really helped us with tests, because I feel like if I didn't have the help that she gave us for the testing, I probably would have failed every single test, and I wouldn't have gotten my license ever. The cons, I feel like I have more cons than pros, only because I feel like you get what you pay for. Like, honestly, there is no job placement, like I said, about the orientation. That just didn't happen. My teacher played favorites so much. She, at one point, actually handed a girl a job. And this girl, I hope she never watches these videos, but she wasn't grateful for that job. And we only learned most of the basics with hair. We really didn't go in like depth with like cutting hair, like how to cut a bob, how to like really do like layers and like men's cuts. I still don't know how to do a men's haircut to this day. And my teacher just mostly focused on the tests, which also is like a pro and is a con, because it took away from us learning, but it helped us all pass. But I mean, there's just so many haircuts that I wish she taught us, you know? And that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. If you're interested in going into cosmetology school or anything like that, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below, and I will gladly answer them. I don't want this to, like, turn off anyone's, like, hopes and dreams of going to cosmetology school. Like, this was just my experience. I mean, I'm not saying every experience is like this at all. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you are not already, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those are always linked down below. Leave video suggestions in the comments. Leave a comment. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.